Just say something loud.
Old Man River.
Hello and welcome to Sean and Dave Make Music. That's going to be the most awkward intro yet. So we've been both really busy, and that's not really our excuse for not having a guest, but
Schedules didn't work out.
yeah, we're going to give you a life update, present some of the music that we've been working on, talk about some of the stuff, and you'll have at least something to listen to this month.
Yeah.
So, Dave, what have you been working on?
So lately I've been teaching a heck of a lot, and I just finished up recently a percussion duo. So that's for two guys, Phil and Casey, excellent percussionists. Phil's an old friend of mine from childhood, and Casey went to Westchester University, so that's where I saw him recently in a performance. He graduated there back in the spring. I only just became acquainted with him, but he did a fantastic premiere back in the spring, or actually the fall, really. Adam Silverman wrote a piece for the wind ensemble at Westchester.
Oh, cool.
And it was with featuring 4 percussionists up front, and Casey was one of them. It was just killer. Like, their chops were really fantastic. So it's like a 4-person percussion concerto with wind ensemble.
Very cool.
And so, yeah.
On what percussion instruments?
They kind of ran the gamut. There was marimba and vibraphone up there, plus a whole variety of battery percussion.
Gotcha.
Basically, the whole front of the stage was just littered with instruments.
And your piece is...
and my piece is kind of like that,
similar.
but for 2 players. Yeah.
Right.
So the piece was originally conceived as a solo work for percussion, where it was going to be Phil on solo marimba, plus doing an ungodly amount of things with his feet and extra instruments built around the marimba. And eventually it became just too unwieldy, so we parsed it out between 2 players. Now it's marimba and vibraphone, plus they're both playing a bunch of unwieldy extra parts. Yeah, it's really killer. I'm happy with the way it came together. And the piece was a very long time in the making, kind of one of those pieces that you work on for a few months and then you shelve it and then come back to it and then back and forth. But it was first conceived, the idea for it, maybe in 2015. So this has been a long time coming to actually get this piece going. So we are recording it in the next month or 2, and then we'll be able to put it on here. You guys can hear the recording, and maybe we can do it for Phil's episode. That would be a good one.
That would be great.
So.
Was there any sort of non-musical inspiration for this, or did it just start with a musical idea?
Really musical idea, yeah. It was originally conceived with the idea that I wanted to have this running figure. It's based off of a drone, which I've done a few times with different pieces, but in this one, it was based off of a drone around middle C at first, and then moving symmetrically outwards, kind of like what you see in some Bartok pieces, with things being symmetrical around a center point, but in this case, it was largely based around major and mixolydian modes, and then, it just kind of spirals outwards.
Does it have a title yet?
No. The working title that I was joking around with Phil was something along the lines of "Better Late Than Never" or something like that. Just playing on the fact that this piece has been long overdue.
Gotcha. Okay, cool. Well, I'm excited to hear the final title and the final piece. And speaking of Dave's compositions, here's one that we recorded last year but never presented fully. His set of 4 miniatures for flute and drum kit. We did post a recording of us playing this set live on our Illumin episodes, and one of the movements also appeared in our very first episode. But you've never heard these takes, so here you go. 4 little minis to start our mini episode off right. I've been, again, also doing a lot of teaching. I've been kind of stretching myself, I think, with my abilities a little bit. So I've been doing more practicing, I think, in general, and just trying to make sure I'm not slacking off as a teacher and doing my, due diligence on all of the instruments that I teach, which is kind of difficult. I've got one tenor saxophone student right now, but he's getting really good. He's only in 8th grade, but every week I'm like, what grade are you in? Like 10th or 11th? And he's like, no, I'm in middle school. Okay. But he keeps asking me questions, and he's really making me push myself to learn new saxophone techniques and try to help him get better. And it's kind of been good for me too.
Cool.
I also just I just taught my first violin lesson last week.
Awesome.
Because one of my students who I go to their house, he was originally a piano player, and then he switched to percussion, and now he started school band and started the violin. So I showed up showed up to the house, and they were like, I'm going to play the violin now. All right, I will do my best to help you. So I had to go back to my memory banks of 2005. The first class I took at Westchester was violin class.
Oh, nice.
But some of that stuff stuck. I was able to bring my violin next week and show him some stuff, and
it's going to be a heck of a jump for him to go from drums to violin.
He's into it though, and that's the main thing.
Oh yeah. They've got the energy, and they're going to put the time in.
Yeah, he's a really bright kid, and it's he's got a foundation of rhythms and note reading and stuff already. So I think he's going to kind of breeze through violin once he gets the mechanics of it.
Yeah,
that's the hard part, but I think he'll have it. What else have I been doing? I've got one trumpet student right now, which is also very far outside my wheelhouse, but I've been trying to, practice a little bit of that. I'm more than a book ahead of him, so I'm not worried about that.
Cool.
Too much. But then I have a lot of really good flute students too. Most of my students are flute and getting to the point where they're playing stuff that I played in college, and
nice.
Yeah, doing it well.
Exciting. Well, yeah. When they get to the point where you're like, oh, I got to stay on top of this.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I actually need to practice for my lessons. I've got one clarinet student who's in a book where I need to actually practice that too. So it's kind of keeping me busy with just that stuff.
Yeah, I've got a drum student that I was just talking with him this week of I'm now at the point with him where he's keeping me on my toes. I need to actually be looking over his music beforehand, so I don't just flub the footwork on the drum set.
Yeah, so. With my saxophone student too, I'm I'm trying to train you to be a better saxophonist than I am.
Yeah,
that should be your goal.
Yeah.
To always sound better than me if you can, and I think he'll get there.
Cool. Very cool.
Yeah. So in addition to that, I've been doing some other random little musical things. I did an arrangement of the song "Juice" by Lizzo.
Yep.
Which I did a video for, and we may or may not present this episode. We'll see.
We'll put it in there.
We'll put it in there, probably. And that was cool. I was really hoping she was going to retweet me and get me millions of hits, but that didn't happen.
Oh.
No. But oh well. And as sort of promised, here's that beatbox flute version of Juice by Lizzo. I was kind of wishy-washy about posting it before in the interview because I didn't really have a solid take of it that I was happy with yet, but I just did another one today that I think sounds a little better, so here it is. If you want to buy sheet music to this arrangement, it's available on sheetmusicplus.com. I'll post a link in the episode notes. Yah-yah-yee! My other venture that I did recently was I did a theme for the Dollop UK podcast, which is one of my... I won't say it's my favorite podcast. I would say it's the spin-off of my favorite podcast, which is the Dollop, which is still pretty exciting. Gareth, one of the hosts on that, did a really quick little vocal take of like a UK punk sound theme. And I knew a bunch of their listeners were going to submit an accompaniment to it. So I had to do it first. I was listening to the track, the episode the day it came out, and I just ran right up to the studio and banged it out. I had to teach that day, and I was literally like running to pack my lunch and let the dog out and come up here while it was like exporting and then master it, and then it was a whole thing. But I got that done, and Gareth retweeted it, so hopefully they will use it as their theme, and maybe they'll even send some listeners our way. Yeah. Maybe you're listening to this because you're a Dollop fan. Hi, Dollop fans.
Exciting, yeah.
Go listen to our other episodes. Go rate us and review us on iTunes.
Thank you, Gary.
Send us money. No, it's Gareth. It's not Gary. The Gary joke is past.
It's dead.
It's dead. They still yell it at every live show. Somebody does, but he's been over it for a long time. So I'm gonna stay on his good side.
My apologies, Gareth.
I'm gonna stay on his good side, Gareth. Yeah, I was calling it Garecore. But anyway, okay.
Dollop UK, all right. We're doing a dollop again for the UK. Doing a dollop again, not America. Doing a dollop again. It's different now. Doing a dollop again for the Queen.
And in even more recent news, they did start using this as the official intro theme to the Dollop England and UK podcast, and I'm over the moon about it. Dave also Venmo'd me money unprompted, and Gareth offered me free tickets to any Dollop show I want. So thank you, Dave. Thanks, Gareth. I will definitely be hitting you up when you come back to the Philly area. I've listened to these guys talk for literally hundreds of hours and enjoyed every minute of it. So it's really cool to now be a little part of their show and to know that they appreciate my contribution. I know it's only 15 seconds long, but I'm really proud of how this turned out, and I'm glad that a wide audience is getting to hear it. I kind of want to hear it again. Do you want to hear it again? It's short. Why not?
Dollop UK, all right. We're doing a dollop again for the UK. Doing a dollop again, not America. Doing a dollop again. It's different now. Doing a dollop again for the Queen.
Anything else coming up? Do you have some other gigs? You've been doing some other gigs.
Oh, I can promote that stuff. Yeah, so I've recently joined up with a Billy Joel cover band. They are known as the Angry Young Band. You can find them on Facebook. Just look for the Angry Young Band. They are a lot of fun. Really, really great players. We've been playing gigs all over the Philadelphia area. So
I heard you guys are one of the top 3 Philadelphia area Billy Joel cover bands.
Yes. So from what I've heard so far, there are 3 in our region. I'd like to think we are the best. I haven't seen the competitors yet, but we have some really solid, steady booking. So the area seems to really like us, and it's a ton of fun. Like, the audience really gets up and dances, and we get everybody moving.
That sounds like you're doing it right.
Yep.
Cool. I don't think I have anything else coming up. No.
Okay.
That's all. Well, that's not really all. I also sent some tracks to one of my other favorite podcasts, The Todd Glass Show, because they recently started doing flute-related comedy bits, and come on, I had to get in on that. Todd asked me to send this version of John Lennon's Imagine with no effects or background music at all, so their artist-in-residence, John Brand Wagner, could pretend he learned the flute. They had some really silly fun with what I sent, and Todd gave us a nice enthusiastic plug. So thank you, Todd. I really appreciate that Todd Glass Show bump we got this month. And hello to any new listeners who might be here because of Todd's plug. Thanks for giving us a shot. Loyal Todd Glass fans may also remember some of my other music from his show. I recorded a few cover songs for Todd during his ska phase last year, one of which he played for Pete Holmes on episode 343. I also did a ska punk version of It's You I Like that he played a few months back on the Kathy Ladman episode. And if you've been listening for several years, you may even remember me as Fake Michael Calhoun. I made an entire Egg Shaker album as a joke, and Todd thought I was the real Michael Calhoun for a while. What a fun mix-up. Anyway, here's a little clip of what they did with my track. It's zany and absurd, and if you want more utter silliness in your life, go listen to more episodes of The Todd Glass Show.
I mean, we know what we're doing. Oh, look at John. He likes the flute. This time of year, I think John it adds a lot of love in the studio.
Can I just say, John's a little bit cockier than the last time I was here.
Wouldn't you? He know what it is? He learned how to play the flute and the trumpet.
Okay. Okay, well, I thought you did good on the first line. You don't have to keep showing. Oh, is this like the beginning of a Kanye song?
It does sound good.
Yeah. I mean, that's 5 notes that are really strong. Oh, okay, you're going into another range. That's good.
You know the words?
It's coming back to me like a fond childhood memory.
I do know the song, but from this I can't guess it. Play a little more. We wish you. Do you know it honestly?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Can I?
I
think I know what it is.
Yeah. Can we sing the lyrics together?
Yeah, go ahead. You start. Put some reverb in his voice, please.
This is the Matrix. Keanu Reeves starring it. Everything's a simulation.
Hey, if you like this type of show, you'll enjoy listening to Sean and Dave make music. That's right, everybody. Sean and Dave make music. Where do you find it? You go find it. It's not like I'm sure it's on iTunes. I'm sure it's very easy to find these days with technology. Does this intrigue you? Do you like this flute music? You do? I'm asking you a question. The people listening.
You.
Hey,
Yeah,
you. Do you like
Sitting
this
on the
flute
couch.
music?
The flutist didn't even like it. They stopped playing.
Sean and Dave, they make music, and you want to go listen. And what they did, that flute, and John, you did a great job playing it, but that show sent us in the flute that we play it on.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Sean and Dave.
Because we wanted a flute, and we got a flute in the mail, and we couldn't believe it. And
So that's...
And it's a brand new
So
flute.
John wasn't cocky. He was highfalutin.
Oh, yeah, and then we were going to talk about trying to publish our music as well. That's something that neither Dave or I has really done before. I published my arrangement, my arrangement of Juice on Sheet Music Plus because they have a program where you can arrange existing songs and they figure out all the copyright stuff. So that was really easy. But we've both got pieces that we really want to get out there. So our goal is to have at least a couple things finished and out by the time this episode comes out. So we'll have some stuff to link to, look at in the episode notes, and if you want to buy our sheet music, hopefully you'll be able to do that.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll keep you posted as we develop all of our...
I'm not even going to say hopefully. You will be able to do that.
Absolutely.
We're going to do it.
One way or
It's gonna
another,
happen.
you'll be able to do it this month, and then even more so as we continue.
We're going to be real composers.
Woo.
So this episode took a lot longer than usual to put together, partly because, again, we're both so busy and life feels crazy all the time, partly because we didn't have a guest to lean on and let run the show this episode, and partly because we were just ambitious with the goals we set out to accomplish. We decided not only to publish some of our existing music, but also to collaborate on a new solo flute piece, which you're about to hear. The main motive of this piece uses what I'm going to call undertones because they're kind of the opposite of overtones. When you finger a low note on the flute, you can produce the harmonic series above the fundamental by changing your embouchure position. These are overtones. But in this piece, I'm doing the exact opposite. I'm using high register fingerings and oscillating between the notes that occur underneath the high pitches usually produced by these fingerings. The resulting notes have a uniquely ethereal timbre and each have their own intonational tendencies. So in recording this piece, I let those out of tune notes sit wherever they wanted to because I think it adds to the character of the piece. The middle section abandons this technique entirely and relies solely on percussive techniques. Key clicks, tongue pizzicato, tongue stops, and short bursts of flutter-tongued residual tones. We finish it out then by returning to slightly varied material from the A section. Also, this piece is really hard to play well, and I had a few very frustrating sessions before I got a take that's even presentable. So I hope you enjoy what we came up with. It's called Adrift on the 7th Sea, and sheet music is available at the link in the show notes if you want to purchase a physical copy. If you'd rather save some money on the shipping and purchase it digitally, just send us an email at seananddaveMakeMusic@gmail.com. I think that's about it. That's all we got to talk about. We'll be back with a guest next month and some more great music.
Yeah. Oh, and we'll push especially, like, I love the idea of somebody sending us a prompt. If somebody wants to do that, send us like it could be notes on a page, or it could literally just be like, could you try doing X, Y, Z?
Yeah, it could be
a challenge. We'll go for it.
Can you play a chartreuse turtle taking a walk?
There you go.
Or can you play, I don't know, anything
or
abstract? We'll give it a shot.
Sure. Even if you want to say, like, take this melody that I know and do something really weird with it. Turn it into a whole nother sounding song, but based on this melody. You know,
we'd love to have more input from people.
Yep.
It's kind of daunting to get together and be like, what can we do? We can make any sound in the world. So, yeah, direction is nice. For our last track of the day, here's what we came up with without any direction and without your help. This one began with a multiphonic flute line moving down the whole tone scale in parallel twelfths, and then we built the groove from there. We did a little percussion together after the flute was recorded, then Dave added bass, I recorded ukulele and a bunch more percussion, and Dave jumped back in with some more really cool bass lines for the middle section. We rebuilt the groove in a different way the second time around, and finished it out with another varied A section. This one reminded us of a bike ride through Philly, so we decided to call it Cycling on South Street. Thank you so much for listening to Sean and Dave Make Music. If you like what you heard today and feel like doing us a little favor, please head over to iTunes and rate, review, and subscribe to us. Or you can just share this with your like-minded friends or send us an email at seananddaveMakeMusic@gmail.com. You can give us a prompt to play off of or just tell us you like us. We'll be happy about that too. You can follow us on Instagram at Sean and Dave Make Music, or you can buy our sheet music or do all of the above. And to any new listeners, thanks again for joining us. Make sure you go back and listen to some of our other episodes. We've had the pleasure of collaborating and interviewing a lot of incredible people. And make sure you subscribe because we've got some more fantastic guests coming up. We'll see you then.